Hi, Chris Duff over at Serious Land Capital, vacant land funding partner. So today, couple couple items in regard to search engine optimization. Wanted to mention we made a much bigger push into that, particularly for our landfunding.partners website, which hosts all known land funding partners, hence the name, within the land funding industry, and tries to provide filters so that you can source precisely who might be the best fit for your particular land deal, or at least, provides you a route to test the waters widely, see who might be the best fit for you, for either your current deal or just going forward with a more established partnership longer term. We had to do a little bit more work on that earlier this year to rebump ourselves back within the keywords, and we also invested quite heavily now into our Serious Land Capital site. From an SEO side, we have a extremely experienced developer and SEO expert who's helped us tremendously in that regard. But something that's been pointed out to me over this past week on a couple instances, both within that mastermind in San Antonio that I was in last week, and then from Kendall's podcast guest, Jeremy Knopf, on his Tribe Tracks podcast, was just mentioning that Google has, become even shadier and harder to work with from an SEO perspective, and that given how many outright searches are starting to convey over to AI models instead, which, hands up, us included here, particularly from a Perplexity side, it is more replacing standard Google searches, whereas Claude is usually our go-to for more LLM type work, where we might be trying to set up copy, for instance, or headlines for podcasts and email drafts and so forth. That's going to be more of the orientation on that side. But now there is the GEO, which is just optimizing results for your brand associated with AI searches and various queries and follow-up questions. So I was playing around with that from a land funder perspective, and it's not quite one-to-one from an SEO side. It's actually, folks who are ranking higher on SEO seems to correlate well with the AI responses here. But not 100% one-to-one, and there's a few distinct differences, especially the types of longer tail questions that users can ask here. So from a ChatGPT and Claude side, they seemed less inclined to give outright recommendations for actual brands and how to handle various land funding. It was more of a procedural and overall option approach. Like, okay, are you looking for, you can go a bank loan route, hard money lending, private equity funders like us, etc., even crowdfunding platforms. All of those were kind of mentioned with their various distinctions laid out within, but they seemed a bit more hesitant to lay out actual names, even when asked explicitly about that. Whereas Perplexity seemed to lend itself, to actual live results and correlating a bit more to SEO. Whereas, like, where would I get land funding as a land investor? And, can I get recommendations, and kind of taking it down a tree of possible routine queries that a land investor might take. And so we noticed that our, land funding partners website was ranking pretty highly on a lot of that, and because we invested a lot within the SEO side for that. But the Serious Land Capital side is more recent, so it wasn't ranking as high there. So if you haven't done that already, again, our brand is going to be a bit different. A lot of folks listening to this might just be running a more typical land flipping or just development business. But folks that are also open to having done their mind's kind of failing me. PPC, pay-per-click type advertising for land. I'm sure they've already been thinking about this, but it's something to orient to. Okay, can you rank high from inside as well? Like, hey, I'm looking to sell my land. Who can buy that? Trying to figure out where does your brand rank for that and how to bump yourself up through various tactics. And, like if you notice that your brand hadn't been ranked there, you can kind of teach these AI models like, well, yeah, I've heard good things about, this, and you want to be able to back that up, right? Like if you're brand new, it starts turning into like a little bit gray hat, even black hat tactics. You got to be potentially careful with trying to game the system a bit. But if you have an established brand and you have the testimonials and the references to back up those claims, then it makes more sense. Okay, I've heard these guys are good. I'm surprised they weren't ranked higher and so forth. So I'm not sure if that directly affects, is the LLM and AI models going to more likely, mention those in the future? I don't understand the inner workings there. This is something we're trying to actively learn from our, contractors working on this with us. But yeah, this is another avenue that we're investing more resources to ensure. Okay, yeah, we're still handling, the standard SEO side for our marketing, which has paid off for the investment that we put into it. But as more people trend towards utilizing AI for searches, can we invest further into that, and how does that look from a structural perspective, to start updating the AI models to more routinely recommend your particular brand, or just keep your brand more top of mind for various types of queries outside of very specific asks here. So that was a deeper rabbit hole that we've been diving in recently, and I think is only going to become more important here. So I would recommend checking that out if you haven't already for your brand, to get ahead before the the arms race really starts to happen. And it might become inevitably, it will become more expensive and more competitive to rise to the top within AI model recommendations. So you always want to be heading to where the puck is going, of course. So just wanted to share a few thoughts there. Again, if you have any deals that are looking for funding, seriousland.capital. Check out landpricer.ai for the most simple and accurate way to price land. Is ready to be tested and released here shortly. And then Land Daily Diligence Facebook group for zero cost review of your land deals. With that, take care, everybody. Bye.